I am spectrometric like Tetris, putting pieces on my procedure to wreck this. I'm going gold fast, so make me up a checklist, reckless excess, riding in a Lexus. Chain so fat you might think I'm necklace. But hear me out, y'all. I don't do it for the necklace. I rap because I just got a break from the silence. No reliance on clients who refuse to sign us. Nobody owning me where the dotted line is, because I've chopped these chains with my chainsaw rhyming. I'm like Pac-Man with a need to devour, spitting rich niche and raining gold showers. Gold member stats call me Austin Powers. Evil with my docs and I'm stalking cowards. I'm a G who grips, but your grapes are soured. So stop and smell the scent of your casket flowers.
Let me just break in to apologize to say that I forgot I left out a vital piece of, oh, there he is, spitting rhymes. I left out the vital piece of information that big teacher, Matt, is a 10th grade language arts public school teacher in Atlanta, Georgia.
All right, so here's where I need you guys to be a class. So if you would direct your attention up to the television. We're going to be looking at a close reading of the lyric, I'm going gold fast, so make me up a checklist, reckless excess, riding in a Lexus. I'll read the question for you. This line is an echo of Trinidad James's all gold everything, specifically the line where he says, let me give you a checklist, 1 gold watch, 2 chains, 6 gold rings, so forth and so on. The literary device used in this echo is, you guys think about this and don't shout out the answer until I actually ask for it. A, allegory, B, allusion, C, anaphora, or D, analogy. Anybody think that they know? Like a little show of hands. Okay, so people think that they may know. For those who are still not sure, let's take another clue by clicking on the picture here. And we've got some definitions. So let's take a look. Allegory, a story with a second distinct political meaning. Distinct meaning, usually political. Allusion, referencing one work to another artist's work. Anaphora, repetition of a word or phrase at the beginning of lines. And analogy, an analogy comparison between like features of 2 different things. Think you know the answer? Well then, come at me, bro. Anybody think that they may know the answer now? A little show of hands, okay. All right, so for those who are still not sure, let's take a little deeper look to our glossary of literary terms. This is the definition for analogy. So you see a story with a second distinct meaning, but mainly I link this up so you can see the examples. Arthur Miller's The Crucible is referenced also to, or an allegory also of the Red Scare. So that's a demonstration of allegory. Allusion, be a reference in one artist's work to another. The rapper Honors English had a song he released that had like 83 different allusions, referencing other things in hip hop. So that's an example of how an allusion works. Anaphora, that's a repetition of the beginning lines right in a row. So we see here the out of the is an example of anaphora. And then lastly we have analogy, comparison between like features of 2 different things. So who wants to actually give me the answer? Somebody who felt really confident. All right,
I think it's an anaphora.
Okay, could you justify your answer?
Is it the repetition of gold that makes it an anaphora?
Well, let's take a...
No, it's not an anaphora.
Well, let's bring some
other...
other...
your thing is an allusion to Trinidad James's thing. Oh,
right.
That was not... I thought you were saying giving me the... Is it not an anaphora? I don't know, it's not the beginning.
No, it's
Give him a t-shirt.
Swag. Actually, that's probably some of my fault because I typically point out again to my students. No, I typically point out as we're finishing up the question. Remember, this is in reference to this particular line. And so I should have pointed back to only that particular line. Right. It would be an aphora. It would be an aphora if I had multiple lines saying like I'm going to go fast, but it is in fact an allusion to Trinidad James's song. So why start with this? This is a brain crank. This is how I began a lot of my classes last year, and basically because Genius said annotate the world, so I was like, okay. So I just started, anything that I needed to put into something for class, like I would have to do this on a PowerPoint or something. I was like, why don't we try putting it into Genius? And so I just kind of started putting lots of stuff into Genius. And
is the brain crank a teaching genre of yours then? Is that a?
It's just like a class opener.
Okay,
How teachers have work on the board for
Yeah.
students to start when they come in. So
It's the
people,
brain crank. I like that.
Yeah,
I may
something-
steal that.
you have to get your brain crunk.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So along this idea of the learning management system, what if I were to tell you that LMS was simply Genius 1.0? And again, I just started putting things that I needed for class into Genius. So perhaps, you've seen a lot of syllabi before, but you've never seen the greatest syllabus of all time. And we'll take just a quick look at it. You'll see a few things here, like our community mission statement, some classroom rules. But I mean, this was the most captivating syllabus I've ever given because I could talk about our community and thinking critically and talking about our stories, but then when I talk about how stories is what makes us interested in, athletic figures, I can go to this video of LeBron James. Well, if we had ad block on, it would be a video of LeBron James, but you get the point. So that would open up. And then I love this, and whenever my students go to get the news, they just have to watch this clip, which doesn't have any sound, but he's just going, news, news, is what you would hear if we had some sound on that. So, I mean, just imagine the fun of being able to watch that clip every time you need to go find some news for the class. You see I have assignments there. You can put anything into this. So let's move on from the greatest syllabus of all time to writing. Writing may not be as immediately obvious as something you can do with Genius, but it actually works really well. I'll give you guys a couple of examples. This is a module on directing a senior class that I had on how to write a college application essay. So this is first me giving them hints and stuff. So if they need to be different, I'll give them a little 2 Chainz GIF to remind them to be different. But then a lot of pictures, and I just use a lot of pictures anyway. So not so much about your outer journey, but your inner journey. So it's instructions on how to write the essay. So once the essay has been written, I can do something like teacher review, which works surprisingly well for essays. So I have the students post their essay, and then I would go through as a verified educator and make comments which show up in green and are distinguishable from student comments. So say right here, this sentence is a fragment. Instead of just writing in red ink, Johnny, this is a fragment, you need to take care of this, and he doesn't care. The information is right there. Like I throw the picture in, and he could literally read about what a fragment is, and hopefully take in at least some of that information, right as he's reading my comments. And it just allows so much more as to what kind of comments you can actually put into responding to someone's.
Matt, is a text like this open to the public, open to the class, open just to yourself and the student?
In this case, it is, but it depends on how it's done. It could be done in a way that is semi-private, but I have them just add it to the site, to the public sphere.
Yeah.
That's a good question, though. Let's take a look at a couple more things. Embedded video instructions. I also like to point out that we can now have links in our pages, which is extremely helpful for constructing like a lecture page, much like I'm doing now. Open a new tab, that'll work. So one thing I've also started doing, because we have the ability to upload video into pages is here I have an archetype assignment, but right here I just embedded this YouTube video, and it will, and again you can't hear the sound, but you can kind of see, it's me leading them through a video demonstration of how to complete the assignment. You can see it starting there. But so I'll play that. But it's really cool because they can, asynchronously, they can do it at home. Reading the Bard like a boss. This was a really, there's our annotation embeds for anybody who was new to that. We can actually take our annotations now and use the small little embed code and put them into other annotations. If there's an annotation you really want to share, you can just stick it in and it pops up like this. It's very easy. What I really wanted to point out on this, let's see, take it to the page. So not only was this like a lecture for introducing Shakespeare, which I think that Genius is really good for doing lectures. You can throw stuff like this in. Yoda's a great example of Shakespeare's use of inversion. But what, let's see, not too good at this one, yeah. What's really cool is that I was able to link, you see here at the bottom, it says click the links for questions 1A and 1B, so that you can actually put worksheets into Genius. So they would read this annotation, click on question 1A, and then takes them to a new page, fix the inverted word order of one of Yoda's sentences. You can see one of my students was playing around on that one, but you can see some of these others have, yeah, there's some answers actually there on some of the questions. This is like slightly delayed from what I'm seeing on my screen, so hopefully that's not causing confusion. But you can see they can put the answers there. So I think that's really neat that I can actually make a...
What is the answer to 2C? What bodily function best corresponds to iambic pentameter?
The heartbeat. Yes. See, I was paying attention to my own lecture last April, whenever that was. Do you want to show this for 1 second? Another way you can do writing workshops is by adding essays anonymously, like in groups. So what I did is I added all my students' essays. You can see they're separated by a line there. And then I just invited them to go through each other's essays and make comments, improvements, and I actually had other Genius editors and moderators from the community come along and add some comments as well. And you can't see the sidebar there, but this has over like 300 comments and like 3,000 page views. So it was amazing the workshop we were able to conduct, and a lot of students said the comments they got were very helpful. I promised at the lunch I would show this. This is my students' C-Style Friday Creative Caesar Wrap. I ran a contest in the forums. We had just finished covering Julius Caesar, and they had to, let me make that a little bit bigger. So the only criteria I gave them is they had to write 16 bars and have 4 lines each be about the major characters. So this was our student who was the winner. It says, Caesar gets the fame, no shame. What's in his name? What's so special about his game? He knows the deeds. What are his needs? Is it me he wants to see bleed? Our hearts will act as rage. Goodbye to the noble age. Where's the stage? What's the next page? Good is in their bones. Brutus can no longer roam. Is this what you call a home? Murdering him like an animal in a dome. And this is one of my favorite things I've ever seen on Genius. I decided to write a second one just for the heck of it. Isn't that amazing? Like, she was so into it, she wrote a second one. It was not required, so she went 32 bars. She just went in on this rap. And if you'll notice as well, she got 12 upvotes. So it was a competition to win this Rap Genius Kanye West t-shirt, and she still got 12 votes from people who were making themselves lose the contest, right? Because they're voting for someone else. And I was surprised that she got so many votes, but she was clearly the winner. She really enjoyed getting her t-shirt. But definitely, I mean, this is a summative assignment. You know, this is demonstrating that you know the entirety of what these characters are like in Julius Caesar. So, and then lastly, I want to, because my presentation was called To Annotation and Beyond, just wanted to share this idea of the wall of history. Students are not just annotating. They're displaying their scholarship not in the margin of a forgotten text collecting dust in some school book room, but rather digitally and eternally on the wall of history. As an example, Chapter 1 of The Great Gatsby already has over 400,000 views, made up of over 130 different annotation contributors. You can kind of see that there in my picture. But it's going to become, if it's not already, the go-to version of this classic text online, and the student scholarship housed there will be seen and interacted with as long as the internet exists, which should be forever, right? So I think that's pretty cool, and thank you.